How's it going? My name is Christopher Cottom, and I'm a doctor of physical therapy student at Regis University, class of 26. I'm originally from upstate New York and completed my undergraduate degree in biology at SUNY Cortland, where I also played Division III lacrosse and competed in two NCAA tournaments. My primary areas of interest are orthopedics and sports performance, particularly in return to sport and performance optimization in elite athletes. I currently serve as the co-chair of the orthopedic special interest group at Regis University and involved in research on gait, retraining, and runners with Dr. Mark Reinking, which these things combined have fueled my passion for movement analysis and individualized data-driven intervention planning. So one of the things that I pride myself on is flexibility, both in my previous occupation as an embryologist and during my first clinical rotation in outpatient rural setting in Casper, Wyoming. Being flexible was something that was very critical to have. In my first clinical rotation in Casper, Wyoming, there was no set plan, and providers and patients weren't matched up. So you would walk in every day unsure of who you would meet. And as a first time student in the clinical setting, being adaptable and learning to go with the flow and to work with what you've been presented with every day is something that became really important and something that I prided myself on. In my job as an embryologist, it's super critical to be very detail oriented and not make any mistakes at all. So that was something that became ingrained in my practice and in my professional identity. Flexibility and detail oriented care is something that I pride myself on, but I do like to think that I have a very team oriented approach. Being an athlete and being someone who is outgoing, I love to work alongside other providers and to collaborate in order to provide the best care. Being an athlete and being someone who is really interested in that top tier return to performance kind of care, I'm driven and would like to see the best results for patients. While athletes and elite athletes is where I'd like to end up, I try to take that approach to everyone that I interact with and consider each individual someone who I can take an athletic approach to, whether it's in outpatient rural Casper, Wyoming, post-op, or if it is someone who's returning to their sport of choice. Feedback and constructive feedback is something that's super important in terms of learning, and I'd like to think that throughout my different occupations, I've learned to hone in on what's important to me. I think that discussing with providers and mentors kind of after an experience or a learning situation is something that I like to do. Have a debrief after something, and then be initially provided with the background and allow myself to work through it and then make mistakes, and then followed by a debrief after. So in addition to kind of having a sports setting in my second clinical rotation, being Rocky Mountain Spine and Sport, having my EMT certification from New York State, I'm also planning on sitting for the CSCS exam in the spring of next year prior to the CE4 experience, which would be what I'm applying for here. So that's a little bit about me. I appreciate you guys taking a second to listen in and consider me for the position. Cheers.